you guys up until 2 here on the program. We're streaming live on YouTube and Twitch. Miami 560 WQAM. Dolphins getting set for the Seattle Seahawks. And that gets going at 4 o'clock on Sunday. You got a game day uncensored coming your way at noon. And, this is one of those interesting matchups, Leroy, because, do you find it helpful at all? Does it matter at all that they have basically defensive cousins here? You have Mike McDonald, who runs the Seahawks defense, their head coach, their whiz kid from the from Baltimore, and you got Anthony Weaver, who was his D-line coach last year.
Some similarities, but a lot of times when a guy breaks free, he puts his own imprint on a defense.
Yeah, DK was saying yesterday he notices the Dolphins like to blitz a lot more.
Right. So, but that's, look, one of the things about defense is it's not who blitzes, it's how many. So always think of that. And I learned this playing Pittsburgh and losing so many times. They started what is known as the zone blitz. And that means you bring 5, but you don't know which 5. And then they drop D linemen and linebackers and rushers into the throwing lanes. If you're looking at the wrong guy, then one guy comes free and they only rush 5 guys. Or if you don't read it properly offensively, you end up breaking or running a hot route or a sight adjustment route, and you're running right into the defender that's dropping in that area. So I pay attention more to how many and not to who. Some people just consider if a safety comes or a slot guy comes, that's a blitz. But what if it's only 4 or 5 rushers? You see, so you got to be careful with that. So there's a lot of guys that add their own little nuance to that, how they try to show one thing or another. And I'm guessing because Skylar Thompson is young and hasn't played as much as Tua, that they're going to give him as many looks as possible. They're going to have guys rotating and moving after the snap to give him a pre-shot look or a pre-snap look so that he gets maybe confused, hold the ball a little bit longer, and that's kind of the game you're going to play.
I mean, he is going to hold on to the ball longer because nobody gets rid of it faster than Tua. Is there something that he could get deked into with his defense because they think, he'll improvise a little bit more or he won't like what he sees initially?
No, because the other thing is that there's 2 things. There's 2 types of quarterbacks. There's the Tua quarterback, time, release, pinpoint accuracy, stuff like that. There's the other quarterback that tries to hold the ball a little bit longer and put you in a position where, listen, once you get to 3-4 seconds, it's hard to cover anybody. I don't care how good your secondary is. And so once that quarterback gets that ball and they're able to protect, or he's able to create some space and move around for 4 seconds, somebody's going to come open. And you have those types of quarterbacks, right? You see a lot of your big plays aren't necessarily schemed, but they're plays that are a little off schedule, right? And those are the plays that end up being the big plays. So I don't know, for example, what if you run a blitz and the team has max protection, right? Now you got a DB dealing with Waddle and Tyreek for 3-4 seconds. One of them's going to get open. That's kind of how the cat and mouse game works offensively and defensively.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm kind of interested to see with him, right? Because it's he has experience. He's been there. He's had a year where he's kind of gotten it under his belt.
Played in a big time game.
Played in big time games. Got a little bit of mobility to him. He's got. He's not definitely a guy who just will stand back there and can roll out a little bit. I think the thing you just worry about, I'm like, you do have those weapons. It's almost like that bleep it. Tyreek Hill's down there somewhere. Like, I want him to still take shots, and I'm worried about him being a little bit gun shy of mistakes, and especially like I remember the last game that he was in with Waddle. Waddle really let him down because he had some nice throws, and his guys weren't there for him. I hope that this is one of those games where they pick him up.
Well, and that's the thing. That's when we started the week. What did I say? Everybody's going to have to pick up what's lost. So that means the run game is going to have to be you're going to have a better run game, right? You might have to run the ball a little bit better. You might have to play a little bit better defense. You might have to take more chances on the defense to give your offense more opportunities, right? Wide receivers, they're going to have to catch balls that might not be right in their hands, but they're going to have to make a play for their quarterback. Like, everybody's going to have to pick up the slack a little bit. The offensive line, you're used to the ball coming out quickly. You might have to, protect a little bit longer, right? These are all the things that happen in the offense. And I see your look when I said the offensive line might have to protect more. And you got...
Well, I mean, it's like you said, 3 of them are on the injury report for shoulder injuries. Like, I don't feel great about that.
Right. But the Dolphins injury report, I pay 0 to no attention to unless we know of a real injury.
Well,
right.
I just, Armstead is just always
right. But that's that like, he practices in camp, and I bet you he put more days in camp than he'll put in all year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Probably.
that's just the nature of that. Like, so if you have somewhat of a concern, I get it, but you have a good enough offense where there'll be plays to be made. And I think that they're going to have to make a conscious effort this week with all the different types of runs you have, a conscious effort to run the football. You just have to. That is going to take a lot of the pressure off. And then get after their quarterback. Press the issue a little bit. Right? Press it. Make him throw the ball quicker than he wants to. Give him a whole bunch of looks. Right? Because, like, again, Geno Smith has played the last couple of years in Seattle. And just live his little life in Seattle and really have no pressure on him.
You cut out there for a second, buddy. Can you repeat what you're saying about Geno?
I said Geno Smith has had kind of a resurgence in Seattle, right? With some weapons and stuff like that. I said, but he hasn't really had a lot of pressure on him. You know what I mean? There's never I mean, and so from that standpoint, you got to turn up the heat on him. You got to turn up, because all the other teams that he played for, the reason why he couldn't is because when things got hot, when the protection got tough, he threw it to the other team, or he couldn't sit in the pocket. I don't know if he's grown from that. I don't know if he's gotten better at that, but you're going to have to defensively push the issue a little bit. Give the offense more opportunities to with the ball. So it'll be interesting to see, because I don't know, both teams are thinking the same thing. Let's put their quarterback under heat and see if they can withstand it. Right?
But like, do you think, because you know that the Dolphins, I mean, we saw a great game from Devon last week, and you're getting Mostert back, because I'm thinking, like, in this crazy ass Seattle atmosphere, like, don't you want to try and dictate that run game early on so you don't have to stress that so much?
Of course, it's got to start with the run. I've been emphasizing that all week. With all the different ways you can run the football, right? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to use all those things to run the football. You're going to try to have some success running it. And then the play action, somebody's going to be wide open if you're able to run it, because they're going to do whatever they can to stop the run, because they want to force Skylar Thompson to win the game. That's what they want. They want to, hey, anytime you play a backup quarterback, You want to put them in a situation where they got to rely on that backup quarterback, and they're going to say, he's a backup for a reason because he ain't the guy. So let's put some heat on them offensively, even if you have to line 8 guys up in the box, right, to give the appearance. A lot of times here, it's going to be key this week. Appearance, what things look like. So it's going to look like 8 in the box. Skylar checks into a pass. Then they drop back, right? A lot of that stuff. So there's going to be a lot of times where you run the football and you might run it into an 8-man box because you thought they were going to back out of it. That's okay. You can live with that. The offense, the way this offense operates, they have you thinking about every aspect of football. The run, the sweep, the quick pass, the deep pass, the middle of the field. They try to put pressure on every area of the field. If you can do that offensively and keep them on their heels, you can have some success. This is with any offense. Like a lot of the offenses, the better defenses, sometimes it doesn't phase them because you're not having success. That's what happens with Buffalo. That's what happens with teams that you play a lot, right? These are the kind of things that happen. But if you can go a team that you haven't played a lot of, that is only seeing your offense on film, and you can go and kind of tweak it a little bit and open their eyes a little bit to say, oh my goodness, there's fast guys everywhere. What are we going to do? Right? Then you have a chance. But so I'm looking forward to it. I don't think, the way people thinking in that, oh, Seattle's just going to do this to them or the Dolphins aren't going to be able to do anything. Your offense is set up with all that speed that no matter who's the quarterback, you can create space. You can create space, and then it'll be just a matter of the timing and the delivery of the football in that space.
Speaking of timing and delivery, by the way, you want to have great timing and delivery when it comes to your dry cleaning, all right? You don't want to just go to any bum out there who's going to, put your shirt on the rack and then they'll lose it in their just mountainous, cavernous dry cleaning system. That's why you want the best dry cleaning in South Florida, ladies and gentlemen. Use our friends over at A&T Dry Cleaners, 40-plus years, owned and run. Thanks to our guy R over there. Fan of the show, and he wants to take care of our audience, Leroy.
Yep, he has a special deal for us. If you use A&T Dry Cleaners, mention Tobin and Leroy, and get 25% off your order. That's right. Mention you heard about A&T Dry Cleaners from Tobin and Leroy, and you'll get 25% off your order. They have a seamstress on site. All you have to do, if you need that costume, your kid's getting a little need a little adjustment on that Halloween costume or the uniforms, those pants legs. You got to let those pants legs out.
Yep.
Every year. Look, proms are coming up. Homecoming dances are coming up. You need to take in those suits or those dresses. Just give Ira a call. Give him a call. He'll give you a quote. Don't just go in there and think it's going to cost a certain price. All alterations are different. Just call A&T Dry Cleaners. Again, that number is 954-610-9383.
Yeah, R's going to take care of you guys. He has that personal touch, family business. They've been doing this for decades down here, serving all of South Florida, Dade, Broward, and Southern Palm Beach counties. Plus, he's into the silly sauce down here, right? He's into the silly sauce, but you get any sauce on your shirt, clean that shirt right there for you, man. You use that A&T Dry Cleaners. You're never going to want to launder your own clothes again. So, again, call or text A&T Dry Cleaners. Their owners are 954-610-9383.